Every election brings important decisions, but for many Alabama voters, the upcoming governor's race feels especially important. One Troy student says Alabama is in need of a change, and voters should key in on what is most important.
Very little has been done to make our state kind of a better place and compete on that national level to other kind of low-performing states as well when it comes to education and rights and all of those different things. And I think taking that into account is very important when you are going to cast your vote for either one of those candidates, and knowing what things are going to kind of work for you.
One issue that continues to come up in conversations with voters is education funding. One faculty member says decisions made by Alabama's governor can directly affect funding for universities, scholarships, and resources on campus.
There is a trend around the country right now to kind of reevaluate the role of the American university and what the American university is giving its students and how it's preparing them for the workforce. You know, every state school depends on funding from the Alabama legislature. So that has people concerned, particularly in higher education. We don't know yet what the plan is or if there even will be a plan.
With the Alabama primary elections coming up this May, Alabama voters are presented with the question of who they want to represent their parties in the upcoming gubernatorial elections this November.
Especially with the last midterm race that happened, I think a lot of people were able to speak up and kind of show their discontent with those issues. And yeah, kind of seeing those big ticket items finally given the attention that they are in these two races, because they are pretty high and impactful issues that are on the line. Seeing those get the attention that they need by candidates who are willing to give them that attention in that space, it's important to see that and hoping people show up to the polls.
And as Alabama heads into this governor's race, many voters will have a chance to fill out a ballot for the very first time. And this will also mark the first time they will have a say in their state's future.
I'm just excited. Now that I'm turning 18, this is my first time going to be voting. So it's going to be really exciting, like actually seeing how voting happens and how like my vote counts and like some new people and all. I think everybody really looks forward to voting. No matter what party you're on, you really do get excited to vote because this is when you finally get a say in how the government is run, right? And I love practicing my constitutional right just as much as anybody else.
Several topics that voters are looking to see addressed by candidates include support for schools and universities, as well as women's health care. Bringing attention to these issues are what some students say have not been addressed in a long time. However, both frontrunners, Tuberville and Jones, have made statements in support of the issues.
Alabama, we actually have the highest infant mortality rate, and pregnancy care facilities are just not good in Alabama and over across the entire United States, that we lose a lot of women and babies because of hemorrhaging. And I think that we need to pay way more attention to that. We need way more women's health care facilities when it comes to these pregnancies and taking care of these women. And then education is another big one. We've seen Alabama in the past few years has risen up a little bit, but I think there's just still so much work that we have to do with our educational system. So if you can't tell, I really want to focus on prioritizing the youth. I think that's really important, and that goes back to education and healthcare too.
Folks that are willing to kind of push back against what's happening in DC right now, because I think it is very easy to go along with the grain of things, especially on the right. So things and folks that I feel will protect rights, particularly abortion, and anything to do with LGBT rights.
As Election Day approaches, voters across Alabama will decide who will lead the state for the next 4 years.
For students and educators, the outcome will shape the future of education and opportunities across the state.